Good evening and welcome to IU Northwest Alumni Friends Meet and Greet with Chancellor Iwama. For those of you that don't know who I am, I'm Despina Liascos. I'm the president of the IUNAA board. I will be your host for this evening. Just wanted to let you know that all attendees will be muted, that this Zoom meeting is also being recorded and will be shared on IU Northwest social media and the website. Please join us on our IU Northwest alumni page on Facebook if you have not done so already. If you have a question during this time, please ask it in the chat. And if there's time in the end, we will ask them at the end. This event is part of Philanthropy Week here at IU Northwest. And it's a way to bring us together as we are in this together. This has not only been a challenging year for us, but also for our current students. It's a time to really consider giving back to your university and our community with your time, talent, and your treasure. I would like to recognize tonight our panelists. They are also IUNAA board members. Please welcome Bernadette Slawinski.
Hello.
Archie Patterson.
Hi, everybody.
Antonia Farrig.
Hi, everyone.
Before we get started with questions, I would like to take a moment to share some of Chancellor Iwama's accomplishments. I had to really narrow it down because I could really be here all hour. But here's just a quick overview. Ken previously served as the College of Staten Island's founding vice president for Division of Economic Development, Continuing Studies, and Government Relations. Previously served as the College of Staten Island's founding vice president for Division of Economic Development. I think I already read that one, didn't I? All right, moving on. Ken also served as chief of staff and deputy for College of Staten Island president and was the college's director of diversity compliance. With an extensive background in education law and labor law, prior to working at the college, Ken was a general counsel for state-operated school districts of Jersey City. At the first school district in the nation subject to takeover by the state due to its struggles in meeting state constitutional educational standards, Ken was a senior member of the state-appointed interventions team, which ultimately was successful in raising performance indicators and commencing the district's return to local city control. Ken holds a BA in English from the University of New Hampshire, a master's in law and employment relations from Rutgers University School of Management and Labor Relations, and a Juris Doctorate from Seton Hall Law School. Ken Iwama was named the 7th Chancellor at IU Northwest campus by the IU Board of Trustees effective August 1st, 2020. Without further ado, I would like to welcome Chancellor Iwama.
Great to see everyone, Despina. Thank you so much for the welcome. And Bernadette, Archie, and everyone, Tanya, everyone, thank you.
So I'm going to go ahead and give it to the panelists at this time.
Okay, this is Bernadette. I'm going to be starting with the first question.
All right.
Yes, so here you go, Ken. Alumni bring so much to a university. What are some of the ways that you envision alumni reconnecting and engaging with IU Northwest?
Well, first of all, let me just say, everybody looks so nice. I didn't underdress. I'm actually wearing the We're in This Together t-shirt for Philanthropy Week. So I'm not underdressed. I'm appropriately dressed, although I'm usually more comfortable with a tie. But no, thank you, Bernadette. That's a great question. You know, how can alumni really, and how can IU Northwest really engage alumni? I would say in almost every way, if I could answer in a more global way, through alumni groups like the one I'm speaking before today, but also through, I mean, in my past, I've helped to engage alumni in multiple ways, including, you know, employment and professional cohorts. You know, that's you know, one of the things in learning about this alumni board and everything that all of our alumni are doing, have done, and will continue to do, it's incredible how far our tentacles reach out into the Northwest Indiana, but elsewhere as well too. So how, you know, to not tap that, I think is a critical mistake. For example, I was at one of the local high schools the other day. Actually, I toured the high school, middle school, and elementary school. And walking through all the classrooms, the superintendent gave me a tour for three school in Gary, and you're looking around at the doors, the windows, there was IU everywhere, right? there was IU stickers, there were flags, there was you could tell that many of the teachers in the school system had gotten their degrees from IU Northwest. So, one of the things I would love to be able to do is to re-engage every teacher that's in our school systems, and make sure that every one of them has the flags and the stickers and things that they can hang and put in their classrooms, so that their students start thinking in terms of in terms of university and colleges. The first thing they're going to think about is IU and IU Northwest. It starts at a young age, and so being able to engage all our alumni in this huge cohort of really accomplished teachers, this is one example. But another aspect is career services and corporate engagement, like I just mentioned. So many of you are so successful, and for over the years, because of your degrees and because of your education, because of our faculty, because of your experiences, everybody's so successful now. To be able, there's such a wealth of connections to alumni wherever they're working, whether it's in the corporate, whether it's in the community-based organization world, whether it's in the healthcare fields, again, whether it's in education. We have alumni everywhere, and to not be able to really maximize, the internships, the experiential learning, the connections, the real life connections that alumni give to our students, that's just another way to engage, as well as the others I had mentioned. But again, there's so many different pockets. That's why I said in every way. Even athletics. I had a discussion with someone the other day about our athletic department, which has been around for decades, and we're talking about potentially having a Hall of Fame or something like that for just our IU Northwest athletes. Since the first time that we had these programs here, and to engage athletes that may have not really engaged with IU Northwest for decades. I mean, it's just another wealth of an area to engage alumni. So, like I said, go back to, in almost every way, we're going to be looking to make those connections and reconnections, and shoring up and making those connections stronger with existing alumni. Thanks for the question, Bernadette.
We'll go ahead and move on to Archie.
Okay.
I have a follow-up question, Chancellor.
Yep.
And that is, it kind of corresponds with the first question. IU Northwest alumni are everywhere. They work in our school systems, our businesses, our healthcare facilities. What value do we bring to the region and to current students?
Archie, I'm so glad you asked that question. Let me ask you. I'll tell you that right now, and I'll tell you why. I don't know if anybody had read the Post Tribune, Chicago Post Tribune, in the last week and a half or so, or the Northwest Times, the Northwest Times, but our communications department, released a report that Indiana University just issued for the entire Indiana University, but also for all its regional campuses. And this is what it was called, an economic impact report, an economic impact survey. And I was so happy that Indiana University did this. In fact, if they hadn't done it, one of the first things I would have tried to do is to do an economic impact survey. And what that survey tells you is, how do we support, in terms of verifiable data, how do we support our surrounding communities on an economic basis, right? And so Indiana, on a whole, I think it was over $9 billion that it shores up the economic base of the state of Indiana. For IU Northwest, our impact to our local our local communities, our region was over 200 million. It was $264 million, and 221 million of that, about 220 million, 1 million of that was directly attributable to our alumni and the success of our alumni, the increase in salaries they brought, the economic value they brought to the businesses that work. So if you think about it, of our impact upon our communities, for alumni to have, overwhelmingly, contributed to that number, graduating from our university, getting our degrees, and then coming out and still working in the Northwest region. That is incredible. It's just an astounding number. And when it came out, people were emailing me. I said I had no idea. And this is the beauty of these economic impact surveys. But this is exactly, Archie, I think best responds to your question. And that's only into the economic piece. Higher education institutions are more than just economic engines. They can do a lot, as that survey showed. But I do believe we're in the business of changing lives, right? And changing. Education makes people, better humans, and advances humanity. So sometimes those types of things, they're not quantifiable, right? But we do things on a quantifiable end in terms of this, like in terms of economic impact. But we also do things on things that maybe not quantifiable, but we know based upon all of our experiences in graduating and learning different types of courses beyond our discipline and beyond our profession. It made us better human beings. It makes us better prepared for the workplace, to the world, for our communities. I think in terms of a lot of things that are happening in the world right now, I think our world would be much better served with more people graduating from college and universities. So thank you, Archie. I really appreciate that.
All right. Hi, Chancellor. What
Hi.
is your perception of IUN's current image, and what can alumni and the IUN AA do to help you enhance it?
Well, I have to tell you, I think it has a really excellent image because everywhere I go, I talk to people about IU Northwest. Whether it's a checkout line at a grocery store, whether it's at a hardware store, rather gas station, and especially if they have any of the hats or the shirts that say, Indiana University or Indiana University Northwest. And clearly everybody has this great affinity for the university, and almost to the energy of everyone here on the board and all the alumni, the same things that drive you to participate and drive you to contribute and volunteer, they have little snippets of that as well. And working in higher education, maybe it's unique to Indiana University and Indiana University Northwest, but I see more loyalty and love for our institution than probably anywhere I've seen on the East Coast from where I've come. So I think our image is great, and I think there's devotion, right, to the institution. But like you said, I think it can be enhanced. And enhanced doesn't mean changing it. It doesn't mean something necessarily has to be fixed, because at its core, IU Northwest is great. Right? The students are great, the faculty are great, the staff are great, the whole, it's fit into the community is great. So my job, and hopefully with alumni, this is my vision, and this is what I'm going to be working on, is less changing it than more unleashing all the great things that are at IU Northwest. Having everybody understand and appreciate the high quality level of education that is happening at the university, the great alumni that have graduated from our university. All things don't come down to, as you can see, is from my perspective, a lot of things, when you have great things, then it just all that comes down to is communication, right? It's communicating that out. And I've said this so many times to people at the university, being a best kept secret is nothing to be proud about in higher education, right? And so I don't want anybody to come up to say to me, oh yeah, Northwest is the best kept secret. That would kill me, frankly. I want this not to be a secret. I want everybody to know, and I joke, instead of, going to the highest mountain, I'll go to the highest dune. And this is what I'm gonna be doing for the next couple of years, or as long as I'm here, telling everybody how great this place is and how great the alumni are, how great the education and quality here is. We don't do that enough, right? We do it in snippets, but whatever I can do to power that, to show the accomplishments of our faculty and students, the research that's happening, the scholarship, the performing and creative arts that's happening right in the backyard at IU Northwest, that's part of my mission. And so how alumni can help in terms of that is really how can we work together, and this is going to be a work in progress. How can we work together to get that messaging out? And a lot of it relates to, really engaging alumni again, right? We talked, using schools as one example, right? Despina, as along with many other people on this, on the alumni board, there are educators, right? So many of them, Bernadette, we've all had education. So many of us have educational backgrounds. To be able to re-engage all our teachers that went through our program, and to have them as our ambassadors, starting at the kindergarten level, right? The K level all the way to senior in high school. I think we have to find ambassadors. You're our ambassadors. We're just going to have to help you, give you more tools and more ideas to help us, and more collaborative programs together with the university to get that word out. So I'm excited to be able to do that over the next couple of years. Extremely excited.
Okay. So given that some of our alumni live away from Northwest Indiana, what upcoming plans do you have to engage these alumni in the future?
That's a great great question, Bernadette. And I don't know necessarily if engaging alumni from out of the region, out of the Northwest Indiana, necessarily is too much different from engaging alumni within Northwest Indiana, right? If they live in Chicago or whatever, we can do these same types of engagement opportunities that we've talked about. But sometimes there is a little bit, I think, out of sight, out of mind type aspect of it. So the most powerful mechanism that I've learned in terms of engaging alumni, especially those who may be detached from the university, is to tap into legacy, history, and memory, right? Legacy, history, and memory. So when you go to a university, you're part of that legacy. You're part of that history. In the 4 years or more that you attended the university, things happened, right? Things happened that bind those classes together. So part of, I think, our job into reaching out to those who may no longer be in this area is to then really tap into that emotional connection, because it may not be a physical connection. So you have to go a little bit more abstract and talk about emotional connections. And anyone who has a good memory of their time at IU Northwest certainly has a legacy or history or memory, emotional memory that can tie them in. So that is something that, when I was at my previous institution, we were faced with a lot of, with the same issue about engaging those who were maybe disengaged from the university. And a lot had to do in my previous institution because they had moved. We moved locations, we were the product of 2 prior institutions that merged. So it was hard to get some of the alumni from those predecessor institutions involved. But what we started doing is talking about their history and talking about that they're not apart from, but they are part of this new university. And so I think in terms of engaging those who may not be physically present in the Northwest Indiana, I think tapping into the history of what happened here. And there's such a wealth of history in Northwest Indiana. I know there's a wealth of things, whether it's in our archives, whether it's in the yearbooks, whether it's in people, whether it's in tapping into that, re-engaging them based upon that tie to emotional memory.
Yes, Chancellor Iwama.
Yeah.
great lead in to my next question.
Sure.
Legacy, history, and memory. I know you have strong Jersey roots, but what do you like about the most about living in Northwest Indiana so far?
Well, Bernadette has New Jersey roots too, because her husband's from New Jersey. So I just want to put it out there. So we bonded right away. But it's funny. I get this question a lot in terms of I think the assumption is that's so different, right? But I don't know if this is this will be well received, but in a lot of ways, New Jersey and Northwest Indiana not that different. I have to tell you that it's amazing, right? Because for example, right. But there's certain things that set it apart that I really like about this place. But let me talk about the similarities. I worked in New York City, but I lived on the New Jersey shore, and I think I talked to some of the board members about that previously. So when I was in New Jersey, one of the things I like to go was the beach, and I used to sit on the beach, stand, and if you look kind of diagonally left on the Jersey shore, you see Manhattan, right? The shadow of Manhattan, beautiful ocean, Atlantic. So when I come to Northwest Indiana the first time, I made a beeline to the lake shore because I'm a shore person, a shore guy, and I stood on the beach. I think it was maybe in November or December, and I'm looking out, and wow, this is not what a lake I'm used to seeing in New Jersey, where lakes are much smaller. You can see the other side, and then I'm looking diagonally, and I see a silhouette, of kind of straight left diagonally is Chicago. So I'm like, it was uncanny in terms of, I wish I could someday. I'm going to superimpose the image standing on the Jersey Shore with standing on, in Miller Beach or in Ogden Dunes, looking at Chicago. It's remarkable in terms of that. And the shore community I moved to, which is Ogden Dunes now, neighbors with Bernadette. It's so similar to the Jersey Shore communities that I lived in and I grew up in. It really did kind of feel uncannily like home. I like the fact I can like to drive everywhere. I'm one of the things that, if Bruce Springsteen is a hero to most people in the Jersey Shore, because he talks about growing up on the Jersey Shore, and he talks about cars, and he talks about driving, because we all drive along Ocean Avenue in my part of New Jersey, where the music is playing, you can smell the salt air in the ocean. You've got a convertible, the top is down. And so I love to be able to drive, and I have to drive everywhere in Northwest Indiana, and I love it. I love being able to, not so much the trucks, the massive amount of trucks that are on the highways, which is unusual to me, but I love to be able to drive, and Northwest Indiana allows me that opportunity to drive in rural areas, and hopefully I won't be speeding anytime soon as well too. But the thing I also love is, what is unique and different, however, about here is the small town centers that are here in Northwest Indiana. We really don't have many of those in New Jersey. There really is, many of the towns are so big, there's no real center to them. But in visiting towns like Valparaiso and Chesterton and Michigan, there's actual small town centers, which I really love. I really like. I feel connected to it in some way, and so I love that as well. But finally, and since I have to go back to New Jersey and New York someday, either just as a visitor or whatever, I got to be careful how I say this. But in terms of the people, I think people are remarkably the same wherever you go. But in the East Coast, where I came from, Northeast Coast, there's a couple layers you have to get through before you get to the kind and the collaborative and the niceness of people. Everybody's got a couple layers, and not necessarily are very welcoming until you break through those layers. But in Northwest Indiana, those layers are not there. And I joked with someone the other day that I actually had to call a doctor's office back in Jersey like a week ago. And after being here since like mid-July, I've gotten used to the kindness of strangers, of people And I called my doctor's office, and they answered the phone. Yeah, that was like, yeah, who is this? And so, and it just jarred me that, okay, now I'm talking to customer service in New Jersey, as opposed to the people of Northwest Indiana. So You know, I love the people here, and I love the community. I talk about my wife Joanne, and for those who haven't met her yet, I hope you all have an opportunity to meet with her. But it took her about a month and a half, and then she started saying, you know, she had to travel back to Jersey, and she goes, "Oh, I can't wait to get back home." So in literally 2 months, she made the mind shift from living in a place like New Jersey for almost all of her life to all of a sudden calling Northwest Indiana and Ogden Dunes her home. So, you know, that just doesn't happen by chance. That happens because you love a place, even though you haven't been here very long. And so that's my story about things I love. And but I have to say, Ken, let me just add one thing to Spina and everyone. You know, I haven't tasted really good pizza here yet. I have to tell you this. And I know you guys, people are going to criticize me. I'm a New York pizza guy, thin crust New York pizza guy. And I've been sorely disappointed so far, but I know you will point me to the right place. And I know, Bernadette, you have a little bit, but I'm willing to take any recommendations about whether, you know, I'm not used to this thick Chicago pizza, but I'll try anything.
That was one of my questions actually later that I was going to ask.
Okay.
But there is a place in Valparaiso. The owners are from Jersey, I believe, as well. So Shoes Pizza in Valparaiso.
Okay, you have to shoot me an email after this.
I will.
And I know Bernadette gave me some tips as well from her end as well too. So I will find a pizza place sooner than later.
I haven't tried Shoes, but my son's been there and he said, "Oh, Mom, it's really good." So I think it sounds like it's the Jersey, New York pizza.
Okay. And it's funny, you know, I think I got more reaction on the chat room by saying that than anything else that I've said today.
Yes.
Because everybody wants to weigh on the pizza.
Somebody said Miller's Pizza, and then also Tony's in Valparaiso.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we'll get those to you as well.
Thank you for that. And then hopefully at some point I can take you to my favorite spot in Staten Island, which is probably one of the best pizza places in the world. You know, yeah. So, but maybe we can do that someday in the future when we can travel again.
Chancellor, what do you enjoy the most about IU Northwest University so far?
This may be a predictable answer, but right, people make the places, right? And so, you know, today for this event, you know, for the Philanthropy Week event, we decided to do something on campus because we haven't done too many things on campus with social distancing and mask wearing, and frankly, we haven't been encouraging it. But a couple weeks ago, a faculty member had, in one of our Zoom meetings, had indicated that, you know, not only are people being isolated at home, they're feeling isolated on campus because everybody's kind of squirreled away in their classrooms, everybody's squirreled away in their offices. And so we decided to do like an isolation breaker today. And so we had, you know, prepackaged foods. We had Build-A-Bear, you know, packets and things like that for everyone. And I didn't really know if anyone was going to come today because, you know, everybody's so used to being isolated. And so the first day was Tuesday. It was kind of dreary in the morning. So, oh my God, you know, I'll be the only one standing there with all this food. And I have to tell you, everything was gone within a half an hour. Everybody came. Some people came, I think, that weren't even working or studying or having a class, and they came to campus just to be able to participate because people are so starved for human interaction. But to answer your question, that reminded me about how great the faculty, staff, and students were because it really energized me again that I could actually, you know, talk. We were in mass, okay, you know, it's not that great, but we could talk to people in an open space safely and share stories and ask questions. So, and talking to the students and the faculty, staff is such an uplifting experience. And it's something that I've experienced from the first day I walked onto campus here, right? First day I walked into campus, everybody is so welcoming, not only in Northwest Indiana, but especially on our campus. And so, you know, what is the greatest thing about IU Northwest? It's the people. And everybody I talk to, I tell them the exact same story that I'm telling you about how close knit, how much we care for each other. And the only way and I'll have to tell you a perfect example, the only way we're able to open, right, in fall in a safe manner and continue to save it is because everybody cares about each other, right? Everybody's wearing masks to care for each other. You know, whether they believe it or not, that's secondary to how they feel about the person standing next to them. Everybody's following all the rules. The students are doing such a great job. They're the real heroes in this. You know, they're studying in different formats and different ways, and yeah, I know it's a struggle for them, but they're coming through with flying colors. Our faculty are great. Our staff are supporting them. So it in the midst of a pandemic, in the midst of every, you know, sometimes we feel like our world is on fire with everything that's going on in the country and the world. But, you know, all you have to do is to come to campus, you know, and you get that energy that there's hope and there's you know, there's goodness in people, and we all can work together. So, you know, that's my great answer to that great question.
So what do you feel is our campus's biggest, what is the biggest opportunity from our campus?
So I really do think, and it harkens back to what I said before. There's so many great things happening here already, and you know, we'll do more great things. You know, my staff, my cabinet, again, all the people at the university, they're so forward-thinking, visionary, so supportive, love the university so much that they're willing to put their blood, sweat, and tears into making IU Northwest, you know, enhance it to whatever we can. But really, the core of the greatness for IU Northwest is already there, because you've already experienced it. Right? All of you have already experienced it. And so I think the greatest opportunity, Bernadette, is the ability to, the hard part is over, which is the great quality of education that's happening there, the great programs, right? So that's the hard part, right? We've already done that. You know, great academic programs, great students, great faculty. The opportunity, which I think has its own challenges, but you know, again, the substance is already there, is to get the word out, to everybody about how great we are, right? Highlighting all the things that I went to a ceramics class the other day. You know, I was invited by a faculty member, and I got to see the incredible artwork that our students are doing. How many people really know that's happening? How many people know that we have 6 kilns, you know, state-of-the-art kilns and state-of-the-art you know, studio facilities for our students? But that's just one example. Every area, almost every area of our academic disciplines have these incredible stories to be taught. So I feel it's my job, and working with the alumni, to highlight those stories to everyone. And so I think that's our greatest opportunity, and in some ways our greatest challenge too, is getting that word out to everyone. I think you're on mute, Marchie.
Yeah, my question is, and I think I'm gonna change things up a little bit.
Okay.
We know that the university has made multiple changes to make students feel safe on campus during COVID-19. Can you share how students have adjusted to their classes?
So the wonderful thing about IU Northwest is that it was prepared. Nobody knew a pandemic necessarily was coming, right? But IU Northwest, because of its attention to online learning, even before this took place, and with IU support as well too. Remember, President McRobbie, you know, his discipline was computer science. So he, you know, during his tenure here at Indiana University, he made pains and efforts and resources to really advance our technological capabilities at Indiana University, and certainly our regional campuses, including Indiana University Northwest, you know, benefited from that. So and then in terms of what our academic affairs and our faculty and our centers for innovation, what they have been doing to support our faculty to be able to you know, to adjust and to learn and to be able to teach at the highest level with online programming, you know, that was already in place. So when we went to full remote, we were already ahead of the game. And so I think when you hear a lot of students from other universities maybe complaining about the quality of their programming online, you're not going to hear too much of that at IU Northwest, if at all. I haven't heard it from any student. I talk to students all the time. I stop them in the hallways. I stop them outside, And you know, listen, it is tough because it is an isolated environment. That there's very little we can do about that aspect, that it is remote. But the quality of programming and trying to engage students while they are online, you know, that has become a specialty of our faculty. And so, you know, our students have adjusted very well. And the beauty, I think, of us as well too, in being safe on campus, is just not online learning, right? I think most of our classes are online, as we should be, to keep density low on campuses for everybody's safety. But we have hybrid, and we have full campus classes as well too. Not nearly as many as we used to, but it's there. So we're offering students some semblance of normalcy, right, through hybrid and in-person classes, while we're also adjusting to full online. So, you know, I think we've adjusted well. I certainly think, again, the students are the heroes. They have adjusted very well. But we're continually learning and pivoting. We don't have all the answers. And the great thing about our faculty and our staff, you know, we have these, you know, we used to have them weekly. Now we have these bi-weekly meetings with faculty, talking about, you know, their struggles, their triumphs in terms of restarting the campus in fall, and what they're experiencing, you know, in teaching students. And they're sharing these stories on, like I said, now on a first weekly, now bi-weekly basis. So we're able to try and respond and pivot, and to try to provide the supports to students, and continually provide supports to students as we move forward. So, you know, I think the students have adjusted well. But not to say everything is perfect and wonderful. Again, students have unique needs. Their needs are as unique as they are. And so constantly we're trying to figure out how to support them in every way possible, so they can continue to stay on track for graduation. So thanks, Archie.
Chancellor, if you were able to put up a giant billboard, what would it say?
Well, that's something a little different. I've never seen so many billboards in my life. Driving so I'll do maybe a non-IU Northwest response, and then an IU North response. So if it was my non-IU North is vote. That's a vote. That's the most important thing right now. And like I said, I'm not going to get political. I think, but the process itself, the process of voting is an apolitical process. Just people have died for the right to vote. People have, like I said, have given their lives for us for the right to vote. And right now, you know, there's so many people on opposite ends of the spectrum. You know, exercise your right to vote. And so I hope everyone, I see all this energy with these early voting. It's great to see everybody involved in the process. And so that's what I know there's a lot of those billboards around about voting, but mine would be in large 4 letters, vote. Okay. In terms of an IU Northwest aligned type of thing, you know, I'm meeting with a lot of groups right now on campus. In addition to walking around campus, in addition to like events that we had today, I'm having targeted meetings, and they have been starting actually with our faculty. And I'm asking them, you know, what are your strengths? What are the strengths of IU Northwest? Tell me about the strengths of your discipline, about what you're doing, and tell me about, you know, what your goals and visions are. And then I ask, you know, if everything we're able to work together to reach our goals, how does IU Northwest look different 5 to 10 years from now? And, you know, in the context of that, one thing that's coming across about our identity, I'm trying to find our identity, right? Because to want to move forward to be who you want to be, you first have to establish who you are, right? And so I'm learning more and more every day about who we are as IU Northwest. And in those conversations, when some themes are coming out across all departments, and one of them is the faculty love for students and a level that I have never seen before. This alignment and this mentoring aspect and this caring for students. We should say that it's in every university across the country, but it's not. And a lot of it has to do with I think our small ratio of faculty students, but it also happens because of the faculty that we're recruiting. And so, you know, if I were to give one message today, it may change tomorrow, it may change a couple of weeks from now, but today, what I would love to advertise is that you come to IU Northwest, you have this relationship with your faculty members that you may not have from any other university in our area. And it's that care that they have, and it's amazing. Almost every meeting out there, it's like, what are your priorities? That's our priority. That's who we are. Our love for undergraduate research, to have our students study with us and to grow with us, and we follow them through their career. It really is something that, like I said, if you're looking for inspiration in this crazy world that we're living in right now, you really don't have to go further than IU Northwest. Because when a faculty member is talking, and they have lots of responsibilities too. Faculty members are doing service, they're doing their own research, but if the first thing comes out of their mouth is their love of students, and this is something that we need to continue to build upon, that is something I want to put on billboards. That is something.
At this time, I'm going to kind of interject because it's time to start kind of wrapping up our
Okay.
questions. I did have a couple questions from the panelists. There were one or two that were kind of personal. So I've kind of asked them to send that to the alumni office, and we can get those to you. I think they were a little too personal.
Wow, thanks to speak.
Not personal on your end, but I think personal specific to
okay.
some of our alumni. No, nothing that personal. But I do have one last kind of question to ask. Yeah. If you could meet anyone, living or deceased, who would it be and why?
That is such an unfair question. That's like, if you had a time machine, where would you go? There's no way to win on this. There's no way to win on this particular answer. You know, let me align this with something else. Okay, let me see if I can align. And it isn't the person that I would love to meet most. It really isn't, because there's so many people I would love to meet. We talk about legacy and history. There's so many of my ancestors I've never met, right? And how great would that be to go back in time and meet the great grandfathers, grandmothers, and those who, along your lineage. I think that'd be fantastic. So many great people that have made this country, have made this world a better place to live in. There's no way to win this answer, but let me tell you what I've been thinking about recently, because I thought somehow you may ask me during this process of these questions, what's my favorite movie, what's my favorite book, what's my favorite person, or whatever. So there was a book that I read about, I don't know how many years ago, maybe 5 years ago, maybe a little longer, but it's starting to, I think about it a lot. And because I'm a lawyer by profession, right? And it is a legal book, and it was called The Great Descent. And it was a New York Times bestseller. It was a fascinating book, and especially if you like to learn about the Supreme Court and everything that's happening today about Supreme Court nominations. But it would be great to meet Oliver Wendell Holmes, who was a Supreme Court justice back in 1919 when he wrote this decision in Abrams versus United States. And I'll tell you why it's so relevant today. And I would love to ask him and ask him, talk to him about what's happening in our country now, and the Supreme Court nominations and the polarization. And so what he did, actually, and what he's known for, and why they call it the Great Descent, is because in a very short time period, Oliver Wendell Holmes went from not believing in basically not believing in individual rights, and certainly not the individual right for free speech, to then maybe about a year later completely changing his view of free speech. And this had to do with a case where these Russian immigrants were put into jail because they were putting pamphlets out, believe it or not, just putting pamphlets criticizing the government and its war policies. They were thrown in jail, and they were prosecuted for this. And so Oliver Wendell Holmes, if you talked to him earlier, just like a year earlier than decision, he would have said throw him in jail. He would have gone with the majority. But then he ended up writing this incredible dissent that laid the framework for free speech in this country. Because as the laws started becoming more recognizing the right to free speech in the political realm, they kept hearkening back to Justice Holmes' dissent. And their story about why he changed is the most fascinating thing, because it showed that somebody who had been practicing law for decades and had these ingrained views of human behavior and law, his progressive friends and things that were happening in the crowd actually changed his mind. believe it or not, miraculous, right? Today and age, anybody changing their mind about something and not be so entrenched in their view that they can't change their mind. So the great thing about Oliver Wendell is actually he listened, saw what was happening in the world, and then went completely opposite, changed it. So whether we, when we see ideological, hearings about what do you believe in Supreme Court, nominations right now, when you see somebody like this, even growing at a late age and changing their mind and being able to adjust their thought processes based on what's happening in the world, it kind of gives you faith again that people are open to this. And so it would be great to speak to him today. It would be great to say to him, look what's happening, look what happens in the Supreme Court, look at what's happening countrywide, and what type of wisdom could you impart upon us that led to your transformation on a major issue in such a short time, and how can we be more open and perceptive and openness to change, because nobody has the answers. That's one thing we've learned in this crazy time, that nobody really does have answers. So.
Great. Let's see. One last question, because I think
Sure.
we have time for just one more. We know that the university has made multiple changes to make students safe on campus during COVID-19. Can you share how students have adjusted to their classes?
I think Archie actually asked that question. Archie, did you ask that question, or is that
I
something
sure
similar?
did.
Okay.
Something similar to that. But let me just talk about something related to that, because it's a good question. We're from November, after the November break through February, we're actually going all totally remote. And I think that is a wise decision by Indiana University, as well as our institution, because hopefully everybody's getting their flu shots, but as the flu season come around, if somebody gets the flu, they're going to think they have coronavirus. And we don't know how bad the flu season will be as well too. So all these things are going to kind of get intermingled with the health concerns of people. So I think IU made the right decision to go remote from November to February. It's part of ensuring the safety of our students as we move forward. Our campus will be open. Offices will still be open on a limited basis. Library will be open on a limited basis. We will still be open. We're not closed, but we will not have campuses, we'll not have classes on campus during that time period. And hopefully, as potentially vaccines coming, or maybe through our efforts, both statewide, regionally, and nationally, that they get a control or a handle on the coronavirus, that spring will look much different, and we can welcome our students back in spring. So.
Well, with that, I'm going to ask if you have any closing statements that you would like to address to alumni and friends.
No, other than, let me just say this. Thank you all for such a warm welcome. Every alumni I have met has been so welcoming and warm to me and to Joanne. Again, I think that's the DNA of everyone here. I think it's within you to be kind and welcoming to people, a new chancellor, and my wife Joanne. So I can't thank you enough for that. I'm so happy for your service and your participation as alumni. In my short time here, I love IU Northwest so much. I can't say, maybe I don't want to be so presumptuous to say I love it as much as you, who have lived it and been here so much longer than I have, but I've already tapped into those unique things, I think, that make you love our university. And make you love IU and IU Northwest. And so to be here for such a short time and to say I understand already, and I am already generating those same types of loyalties and feelings, dedication, not only to the university, but to the surrounding communities. I think people think I've been brainwashed and kidnapped in New Jersey because I keep saying, this is the most beautiful place in the country. Come over here. You wouldn't believe it, because, I don't think they know Northwest Indiana. So, again, as I ask everyone to talk about what's great at IU Northwest, I'm out there doing the tourism job for the tourism industry at Northwest Indiana, because I love it here. And the more people I can bring out here to see the beauty and the people here, the better. So So thank you for that. And you already made a believer out of me. So I'll do everything I can for you moving forward and to reach your vision and your goals of what you have for IU Northwest. I'm going to do it.
We also thank you for taking this time to meet with us. And we look forward to seeing you either on some more live events like this or in person at some point when it's safe.
And hope pizza's involved at that
Yes,
meeting. Okay.
we can work that out. We had a lot of people answer a lot of different places for pizza, and we'll get those places for you.
Okay.
But before we close tonight, we all thought it would be nice for us to join in song to our alma mater. And I would like to just say it is Philanthropy Week. Please remember that we are all in this together. And if you could, please reach out and give your time, give your talent, and or your treasure. This is a time that students are definitely in need. And as alumni, we can do so much for our current students and future students. So I'm just kind of putting that out there for everyone.
Thanks.
So we also have an IUNAA scholarship that the Alumni Association has put together for students here at IU Northwest. So we're always looking to build that up as well. But please join me in singing to Hail to Old IU. And on the screen, you will see the words, hopefully. Give me 1 second here. Come and join in song together, shout with might and main. Our beloved alma mater, sound her praise again. Gloriana fratia pana, ere to her be true. She's the pride of Indiana. Hail to old IU. Thank you everyone for joining us tonight. I wish you a wonderful evening, and I hope that everyone stays safe. And thanks again. Have a wonderful
Thank you, everyone.
night.
Thanks. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Take care, everyone.
Good night, guys.
See you soon.